I wish you luck in realizing your ambition.
Hey everyone, it's Blue Lizard Jello and welcome back to Everything Possible in Elden Ring. Last time, we actually, finally, finished Limgrave. That's right, we actually went back and cleared up a few bosses and we took care of our very first hero's grave, the Fringe Folk Hero Grave. Now we are back in Liurnia, just beyond Stormvale Castle, which is right behind us, and we are at the lakefront side of grace. The lake-facing side of grace. We have a couple of NPCs to talk to, and we have these two. We have another one over in that dilapidated church, and, well, we're actually going to run into at least one of these again in this same episode. But before we move on, let's go ahead and take a look at the equipment and our stats. I'm using Rajay's Rapier at +8, which is the level that he gives it to you at, and I've also changed this to the Keen Infusion to get a little bit boost based on my stats. I have the Highland Axe upgraded to +3. I have the Eclipse Crest Heater Shield and the Finger Seal also upgraded to +3. For my Elden Bling, the Foot Soldier Cap, Exile Armor, Exile Gauntlets, and the Caden Trousers. But I have some alternatives in my inventory, and I'm going to show you why that is when we get to a particular area of this episode. For my talismans, right now I'm using the Blessed Dew Talisman and the Roar Medallion. I have my consumables along with some kukris. These are going to prove to be very, very important. And if you want to take a look at my current stats, there they are right here. Keep in mind that I do currently have Godric's Great Rune equipped and activated thanks to a Rune Arc, so I'm getting +5 to all of my stats. If you want to see the base stats, if I rest at a Site of Grace and I go into the leveling menu, there you can see the actual base stats. Add 5 to all of those, and that's where I currently am with the Great Rune equipped. I do also have some spells. I have Heal, Rejection, Flame Sling, and the Black Flame Blade. Without any further ado, let's go ahead and talk to some NPCs, starting with Boc.
Good to see you, Master. Do you remember me? Boc, the demi-human. You helped me before and retrieved my sewing needle. Please, Master, allow me to serve you as your seamster. I can't make nothing from scratch, but I'm happy to make adjustments to your garments.
And he is in fact happy to make adjustments to our garments. In fact, he does it at no cost. Now, I don't have anything in my inventory currently that he can alter, but if I did, you would find that you could take the cape off or put a cape back on, back and forth, and it doesn't cost anything if you do it through Boc. However, he doesn't really want you doing it yourself.
Master, I was wondering, do you ever make adjustments to your garb yourself? I would, well, rather you let me do the job when possible, please. I don't ask anything in return, you know, and, well, I am your personal seamster after all. Oh, going so soon? Please do be safe on your journeys.
And we'll be seeing Boc a bit later on. Next up, we have a new-ish NPC by the name of Hyetta. We'll talk more about Hyetta and who she might just well be in a moment.
Hello? Is someone there? My name is Hyetta, and I'm journeying in search of the distant light. If I might be so bold as to ask, would you donate any Shabriri grapes in your possession to me? My eyesight has been weak since birth, you see. I can't tell which way I'm supposed to go next, but when I eat one of those grapes, I can feel a distant light in the back of my eyes. It will lead me to my true duty as a finger maiden.
Now, we found a Shabriri grape right before we exited Stormvale Castle, so we do have one in our possession, and we'll be collecting another one in this episode. I can't remember if I actually showed off the description of it in the last part, so when we pick up the next one, once we get over to the ruins just above my head, I will go ahead and show that off and compare it to some of the other items that we have in our possession to show just what these grapes really are. But let's go ahead and give Hyetta a Shabriri grape.
Oh, many thanks to you. Now I can feel the distant light once more. You are most kind indeed. May the blessing of the fingers be upon you.
And we get the as you wish gesture, and I can only hope that this is a subtle nod to the Princess Bride. As soon as we rest at the site of grace, Boc will stay put. But Hyetta has moved on. We will see her again later in this episode. Now, back here, not actually going to make the entire journey, but if you skirt around the outside of Stormville Castle, you'll find that there's a path. And I have showed the beginning of this path from the other side much earlier. But this actually connects. It goes right alongside Stormville Castle. And it connects to this section right here. If you remember quite some time ago when we found the Finger Reader Crone, we were able to jump down this broken bridge and actually access this part right here. And we actually got a Teardrop Scarab, we got an Ash of War, and we showed that there was a path that connected here. The bridge is broken, but we do want to make it a point to get to this end of the broken bridge from this side. But I did want to just let you know there is this path here, so you can absolutely bypass Stormvale Castle if you don't want to tackle it now and you instead just want to make your way to Liurnia. But there are no items between here and here. There are, however, some wolves. Taking a look down below, oh, got a nice shiny skull there. There are some of these gravestone steps, so you can make your way down there. However, let's go make our way over to this church. Because inside we have a very important item and a new NPC. Welcome to the Church of Irith. So first, let's grab ourselves a sacred tear. This is going to increase the efficacy of our flask. So we'll get more HP and FP back when we use our Crimson and Cerulean flasks. And here is Sorcerer Thops.
You're tarnished, aren't you? Then perhaps you could spare some runes. Believe it or not, I studied glintstone sorceries at the Academy of Rea Lucaria. For a small donation, I'd be happy to share my knowledge.
And unfortunately, yes, you do need to actually pay up the 10 runes in order to advance his dialogue, to open him up as a merchant, and to continue his quest.
Well, bless you, bless you. You're a true saint. My name is Thops. Presuming you're interested, I can teach you sorceries, as promised. Only, none of them are particularly great.
Let's take a look at the sorceries he has. So he has Glintstone Pebble and Glintstone Arc, both of which we have already purchased from Selen earlier on, but he does have Starlight. Now this sorcery is only available here from Sorcerer Thops. It requires 15 intelligence to cast, it costs 9 FP to cast, and it will illuminate the player and its surroundings for 3 minutes. Actually a really useful sorcery if you ask me. Now, even though we already have Glintstone Arc and Pebble, I do want to buy all of these just to get some more dialogue out of Sorcerer Thops. So, I'm going to go ahead and leave, and I need to consume some runes here. And we need a total of 4,500, I believe, so that's not quite enough. That ought to do it.
Back to the line of cool.
And I am all of 78 short to buy Starlight. Womp. Womp. Alright, one more golden rune, level 2.
Back to the line of cool.
And let's get Starlight. And we will get a unique dialogue out of that, but we have to exhaust his dialogue here first.
Thank you, kind soul, for learning my paltry sorceries. I never imagined that a bluntstone like myself would have the chance to play teacher. Apologies, friend. I'm afraid my meager sorceries are no match for your generosity. Oh, right. I can tell you what I know about this place. That should help a bit. You've seen that structure to the north, towering over the water. That's the Academy of Rea Lucaria, where we study glintstone sorceries. Only its doors have been closed for quite some time now. After they declared they wouldn't interfere with the shattering, the Academy cast repelling seals on the east gate leading to the capital, and the south gate leading here. As you might have guessed, the seals are still active, making entry to the Academy impossible without a glintstone key. And so I'm stuck here. A fledgling sorcerer with little chance of acquiring a key. When they cast the seals, I'd just popped out. And now I'm uprooted from my place of learning.
Now, we have reason to believe that the shattering happened quite some time ago, and Sorcerer Thops acts like he just stepped outside for some fresh air, but in reality, according to what he just said, when Liurnia declared that they would not get involved in the shattering, the Great War way back when, they actually sealed their academy with glintstone sorcery, and the only way in was with a glintstone key, and he's been on the outside ever since. Well, let's ask him about that key.
Why not find yourself a glintstone key? Without one, you can't pass through the academy, and you'll never reach the Erdtree capital. And if you find an extra glintstone key, perhaps, once you've tied up all your loose ends, and I can be very patient, would you consider donating it to me? I know it. I'm a bluntstone. Nary a hint of talent for sorcery, but still, my place is at the academy.
Now, we can also ask about Selen. This is the dialogue option that opens up after you've purchased all of his sorceries.
You've taken an apprenticeship with Selen. Well, that is something. Selen was well known. The most promising sorceress in the history of the academy. I followed her at school. But there may as well have been an ocean between us. But Selen was expelled from the academy, accused of unthinkable treatment of certain sorcerers, under the name of the Graven Witch. I still don't believe the accusations. The illustrious Selen would never do such things.
And as you can see, he holds Selen in some pretty high regard. Right. So from the church, we'll be back to talk to Thops once we've actually found an extra glintstone key. Not just the first one, but we do have to find the extra. We have the sacred tier, so we want to turn that in, but first, let's go ahead and hop up here. We're going to have some skeletons to deal with, and we can start showing off our new Warcry ability. In fact, not only that, I forgot to show off my Flask of Wondrous Physic, which currently has the Crimson Burst Crystal tier, which increases HP over time, and the Spiked Crack tier temporarily boosts charge attack power. This will actually stack very, very well with the Highland Axe. So I'm looping around. You can see those two hanging skeletons, but there's a more dangerous one right behind this gravestone here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and use my flask, activate Warcry, and completely miss one. There we go, knock him down. Okay, one of those skeletons has dropped down. Now we have to, of course, hit him again once he's down. There we are. And go for a nice charge attack again. Perfect. So we got them. Make sure you get that double kill, and on this corpse we get 3 warming stones. Remember, this costs a little bit of FP, but it puts down a stone that will heal over time. It'll heal you, your co-op companions, but also any enemies that just so happen to wander into its area of effect. We can make this jump right here as long as we're careful. Okay, you could have just taken that rock down. Don't mind me. We do, however, have a little bit of loot here. So you have a Rawa fruit. There's actually an arteria leaf that I'm looking for, but we do have some more skeletons in the graveyard, believe it or not. So, oh. Okay. Unfortunately, that guy got his little mine off first. Let's see if we can get that kill. Good. Loop back. Flask of Wondrous Physic, though, is still going. Hey, we got the grave scythe. Okay, we'll have to take a look at that. That's a rather uncommon drop from the skeletons. But we don't have to heal because you can see our health is still ticking up. But the grave scythe with the spinning slash Ash of War comprised of a large blade affixed to a crooked stick. Weapon yielded by the aged gravekeepers who tend the forgotten graveyards throughout the lands between. This weapon is said to have served as a charm against evil spirits in times of old. So unfortunately, it doesn't have the ability to cast the rancor type spirit sorceries that they are, but pretty cool nonetheless. It does cause bleed buildup. Over here in this corpse, we get the Academy Scroll. Now, the Academy Scroll is really, really cool. You get the Great Glintstone Shard and the Swift Glintstone Shard, two very good, cheap sorceries. We'll talk more about these when we actually end up turning in this scroll. But let's loop back around. There is another skeleton that's going to appear here. Take him out and get the kill. Very nice. And then over somewhere around here. Now, pardon me, because red does not stand out among the green. Here we go. We get an Arteria Leaf. That's what we were looking for. Now, we just got a sorcery scroll, and you might think that Sorcerer Thops would be able to handle it for us. However, he does not give you the option to turn it in. Now, I have found some reports online, both on wikis and on Reddit, that he has an option to turn it in, but when you try, it actually tells you, little hidden glowing skull here, that he is too much of a blunt stone in order to teach you anything. I have not found any way to get that dialogue to appear, so if you've had it and you know how to trigger it, please do let me know. Right, so a little bit of loot under our belts. Let's go ahead and push forward. We're going to loop back around, take this path right here, getting any more glowing skulls along the way. I've talked about it before, but anytime I'm riding Torrent, I pretty much just mash the interact button to collect any consumables or ingredients along the way. Okay, and here we have an encampment. Not too many enemies in here. You can summon for this, as you can see by the gravestone symbol on the left-hand side. But I think for fun, what we're going to do is avoid that. And you can just see the Black Flame Blade putting in so much work there. Cast it again. And just for fun, I do want to show off the repeating thrust with the Black Flame Blade, so let's do that. It's beautiful. Absolutely fantastic combo at this stage of the game. Now we do have a soldier over here who's none the wiser, so let's just sneak up on him. There we have it. Another one on the outside. We'll kill him, and then we can loot the camp. And what did he drop for us? We got the Brass Shield. Brass Shield, I don't know if we ever talked about this because I don't think we had one drop. An amazing early game shield. Many of the soldiers around Stormvale and even in Liurnia can drop this. Even the Mausoleum Ghost can drop this. But it does weigh a good bit. It is 7 weight units, but it has 100% physical damage negation and 61 guard boost for a medium, no skill shield. A very, very good drop. Definitely something worth farming. Now this camp right here, you can see on top of the camps there is a symbol. That symbol relates to the Academy of Rhea Lucaria, which you can see way off in the distance. But over here on this corpse, we get the Glintstone Craftsman Cookbook number 1, a super fascinating cookbook. It can create some really cool stuff, but just the cookbook itself is rather intriguing. So let's pull this up. A record of crafting techniques left by a Glintstone craftsman who served the Academy contains information on faux sorceries, such as they were called. Now the soldier who just threw a magical item at us threw the Cuckoo Glintstone, which is the item that this is able to now craft. That is considered a faux or a fake sorcery. Now the question is, who is this Glintstone craftsman? Well, we have some hints throughout the game, but I do think it is a character, an NPC we're going to meet later on in Liurnia. And I'll bring that back up when we find that character, and I'll provide some reason for why I think it is who I believe it is. But also take a look at the actual cookbook itself. What's interesting is that the 2 images depicted are not items you can craft with this cookbook. Those are crystal darts, and those are shatter shard arrows. Those are items that we'll be able to craft soon, or at least we'll find the cookbook enabling us to craft them here soon. But over here, don't forget to roll through or jump through to get ourselves some 6 smoldering butterflies. And that is it for this encampment. So next up, we are heading towards this site of grace, along with that campfire smoldering behind it. And that is our next merchant. Let's go ahead and rest up, get our FP back. We'll get our Flask of Wondrous Physic. And we can also turn in that Sacred Tear we just collected. There we go. Increase the amount of HP, FP replenished. Very, very good. And over here, grab ourselves a smoldering butterfly and talk to the next merchant.
You're new around here. Surprised you found me in my little nook. No matter, no matter. Your money's as good as anyone else's. Why don't you take a look at my wares? Oh, but don't ask me how I got my hands on them, eh?
Now, taking a look at the Nomadic merchant's inventory, he has quite a bit. And I'll be honest, I'm kind of a sucker to own everything that there is to own, especially when it's in limited quantities. To do that, to buy everything that he has to offer minus the arrows and bolts, it is going to require 13,000 runes. I only have 2,300 right now, which means I need to do some selling. So let's do exactly that. So let's sell all of these, all of those, and we don't need to sell all of these, but let's do some quick math. We still need about 6,600. So we'll do 7,200. There we go. And we're gonna, oh right, we don't need the hand lantern. So we still need 13,000. I did the math, but we don't need another hand lantern. It's not like we can use 2 of them. I do want all 5 smithing stone 1s. I want all 3 smithing stone 2s. I do want to get the Nomadic Warriors Cookbook 11, which will allow us to craft the Crystal Dart, the Spell-Proof Dried Liver, and the Shatter Shard Arrow, 2 items we just saw depicted on the previous cookbook we just got. I also want to get the S-Stock. As they say, the S-Stock is in fact the best stock. We're going to get the Astrologer's Staff. Now, if you're not a collector, you don't need to bother, simply because this is the starting kit for the Astrologer class. The S-Stock, the Astrologer's Staff, the Shield, and the Armor all comes with the Astrologer's class. And this staff is nothing special, other than it looks really, really cool, but it's not the best in any case use. But here's a little bit of cool trivia about the Astrologer's Staff. This seems to resemble a cross staff, or something that might be known as a Jacob's staff, which was used to measure the angles of certain celestial bodies. It was used in both astronomy and navigation, sometimes known as a radius astronomicus. Now, again, it's a good all-around staff, but it's just not the best in slot for any particular purpose. But we get the kite shield, which is really nice, and then we'll buy the full astrologer armor set. Now, I absolutely love the astrologer's robe. I just think it's a nice looking bit of gear, and it can be altered, but also, you see that little circular thing dangling from the belt? That is known as an astrolabe, which is actually used as a star chart, which I just think really, really nice feature to have on the astrologer's robe. But there we have it. So we are done with the merchant. We have all of 1,900 runes remaining, and now it's time for me to talk about the lake. The lake is massive. We do not have the map for any part of the lake yet, but just understand it's going to comprise a large chunk of this area right here. There's not a ton in the lake. It's rather empty if you look at it kind of, square meter by square meter. So I'm going to be planning out this route as efficiently as I can, and I'm going to be using the various maps to do that. So the first map we have is right here at this monument. So I'm going to go ahead and drop a marker here, and that's going to be our first reference point. I'm going to go ahead and get my shield out though. There are some enemies. There we go. And even though I do like the rapier in this case, you do need to be careful because you don't have the slashing ability to take on groups. You have a Spirit Spring stream over there that you can use Torrent to hop up there for, and there's an Everjail. We will do that at a later time. So we have some enemies right here. Let's see how quickly we can dispatch them with some Black Flame Blade. Okay. There we go. Not too bad. A couple of Grave Violets. Get rid of the map marker. And we get the Liurnia East map. Now this map doesn't actually cover a whole lot. And shockingly enough, it for some reason goes out to the west, despite it being the east. My plan for this episode is to use some arbitrary landmarks to kind of carve out this section of the game. I'm going to use this point right here. In fact, I'm going to put a map marker. We're going to then connect it over to this rocky point right here. And then we're going to circle around up onto the landmass. We're going to go down here to the broken bridge that I mentioned and work our way back. And then there is a cave right here in this section, and that's where we're going to finish up our episode here today. A lot of stuff in between, though. Let's make our way towards this first map marker. There are going to be more of those mini or lesser revenant types. You can see one right there. Oh, and right here. Now be careful with this ruin that we're coming on right now. We don't want to be going into the center. There we go. Make sure we pick up any drops, typically just Grave Violets. You can see a Site of Grace coming up, and we do want to get that, but let's not aggro too many enemies in the meantime. You want to attack? No? And here we go. Alright, so we got the horseback revenant. It's not too bad. Just kind of follow him, staying out of his cloud. And he's using an item called the Wraith Calling Bell. So that's going to cause these little wraiths to follow, to track onto us. Boy, he's being difficult, huh? Ranged attacks are a great choice here. Oh, got him trapped in a corner. Perfect. And there we go. So not too dangerous, especially with a halfway decent shield. Let's get this other lesser remnant right here. Okay, so the center of this watery area just up ahead is where you don't want to go into just yet. And there's a reason for it. But as long as you have a healing miracle at your disposal, you will be okay. So here is that first map marker. I'm going to go up here and clear some enemies. Under here, there are loads of Lancewords. I don't see the reason to kill them. They are the same as we have fought before. They can drop golden runes, but the rate is just not worth it. I mean, if you want to kill them, the goal is just rush up there, get some heavy attacks, get the critical. But the reality is, the drops are just not worth it. They're not hiding any specific loot, so we're just going to head on over. Ignore them for now. I am going to this Site of Grace. This is actually the part of the run where you are going to see me start talking about leaving some enemies alone. Some of them are just not worth it, and you're going to see a few of those in today's episode. So we're going to light this Site of Grace. We're not going to sit at it, but I am going to grab the Glintstone Craftsman Cookbook number 2. So this cookbook allows us to create freezing grease. It lasts for 60 seconds, it's a buff applied to weapons, and it applies a buildup of frostbite. Frostbite, if you can build it up enough, and if the enemy is susceptible to it, they will take a nice big chunk of health damage, and it reduces their damage negation for 30 seconds. So in other words, they'll take even more damage, which is really, really nice. For now, we're going to be making our way over to the next map marker, collecting any golden runes and any crystal buds along the way. There are some enemies kind of hidden in the trees here, including some giant dragonflies. That was amazing how many times I just missed that. Oh, and I'm locking onto the dragonfly, unfortunately. See if I can't get a backstab. Oh! Hoping for the backstab just to be safe. Okay, now I brought the kukris and rejection for great dragonflies. I actually do like to collect these when I can because the great dragonfly head is what you need to craft your poison removing boluses. So let's zip on over here just so you can see that I've kind of covered all the land here. Water in this case. There we are. And now we're going to start looping back around. So here comes the next enemy that I'm going to tell you is simply not worth your time. Let's see where he's at. There he is, way down there. Let's let him come to me. And the idea with this freshwater lobster is you want to stay close and you want to have a good shield. Otherwise, just don't bother. The thing is, when you stay at a distance, they have a sniper water bolt that is absolutely devastating. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to bait some certain attacks if I can. Okay, be careful of that jab. He can do a lot of those, but that is one of the best attacks he can do. Opens him up for a nice guard counter. And when he does that left claw slam like that, understand he's probably going to do a follow-up, which is a swipe, so you want to keep that shield up. Yep, just like that one. So let's be careful here. I want to bait the jump attack if I can. Easier said than done. You can see I'm not going to risk it to do guard counters with this poke attack. You can just do too many all in a row. There we go. Guard, counter, a couple light attacks. We can knock him over to get a critical. Okay, there is the water attack, which can be very, very problematic if you're just trying to get by on torrent. Okay, didn't do the follow-up swipe. We almost got him though. Back up. And you know what? Let's just finish him off. And there we have it. So a whopping 500 runes, and he drops a strip of white flesh. Just not worth it. So when you see these, if you're given the opportunity, just leave, just run. That's my stalwart advice. Just run. All right, next up we have some ruins behind us. And these ruins, because they are named, it means there is a basement to be found. But first, look who it is. We found Hyetta again.
Hello? Is someone there? Would you donate any Shabriri grapes in your possession to me? I'm on a pilgrimage in search of the distant light. And when I eat one of those grapes, I can feel the light in the back of my eyes.
However, we don't have a Shabriri grape in our possession as of right now, but we will find one here in the Purified Ruins. There are some soldiers here, there are some dogs. So what I'm going to do is we are going to head up kind of the left side of the ruins, and there's a site of grace up at the top of the hill we're going to go and take out. In fact, now that I'm thinking about it, it's kind of silly that I'm even killing any of these dogs, because we are going to rest at the site of grace. But might as well. Deviating slightly from my route, but here we have 5 mushrooms. And inside one of these buildings, right there, we have a waygate. Now this waygate is going to teleport us all the way to the Raya Lucaria Academy gate, along with the Site of Grace. So before we enter into that portal, let's go up the northeast direction up to the hill. And let's grab this Site of Grace. And actually, I mentioned that we were going to rest, but we don't really need to do that. There is a statue of Roses over there we'll activate very, very soon. But first, I really like this lore sword. This marks Melania's southward march. The blade of Mikola and her clean-wrought knights grant her wings never to be clipped. We're going to learn a lot about Melania as we go through, but we don't have to wait very long to meet one of her clean-wrought knights. So for now, before we head to kill that group of soldiers, I'm going to go back down to the building with the waygate. And we're going to let this teleport us. So here we have the academy. You can see where we are on the map. We now do have another map marker. We're not going to go for that today, but just kind of keep that in mind. We are, however, going to activate this Site of Grace to make teleporting easier. And as we approach the door, we get another key item, which is a meeting place map. So let's go over to our notes here. Simple map found on a corpse seems to point to a meeting place. The man it came from surely desired one. The sole means of gaining entry into the academy, a glintstone key. This pertains to an island to the west of the academy. So, given that we're in front of the academy, if I can clear my screen, we're in front of the academy now. Somewhere over in this general area, we'll find an island. Hopefully not guarded by anything dangerous. Back to the Liurnia Highway North Site of Grace. And you know what? Just because we're at a Site of Grace, I'm going to go ahead and change it to morning. There we have it. All right. So I think what we'll do, and I'm kind of deviating from my original plan. I'm going to skip the ruins for now. I do love this scene over here. We'll spend some more time looking and talking at this scene here next time. But, the puppets. The puppets besiege us. Indeed, the puppets. We'll be talking quite a bit about those in the days to come. But first, let's go ahead and activate this Statue of Roses. We're not going to take care of the catacombs it points to yet. But just so we have it on our map. Guide and gatekeeper for those returning to the route. You can see it's pointing down this lower path. Let's stay a little bit higher for now. There's not a lot of loot this way, but there is one really, really cool, unique weapon that we can get at the end of that broken bridge we've been talking about. Nope, that's 200 runes. We don't leave that. So here in these broken monuments, just a few basic enemies. Alright, let's take care of all them. Guard counter. Always use those invincibility frames, because why not? Alright, open yourself up for a backstab, why don't you? Get some bolts. Now in this corpse, we get some Stormhawk feathers. Good for making those Stormhawk arrows. And we've already seen these enemies before, but they seem to be highly concentrated anywhere where magic abounds. We have the marionettes, aka the puppets that Ghost was just talking about. You can see them right there. There are quite a few of them. And if you recall, we ran into these in the Weeping Peninsula right around where we found Selen, the real Selen, who's actually being held captive. When you attack them and deal some damage, they go into a frenzied mode, and they can deal some very, very quick damage. We also have these really cool looking balloons in the sky, and we'll deal with those in a second, but first, we do have some hidden doggos. Interestingly enough, that dog has no idea where we are. So I'll use that to my advantage. Okay. Don't love this, but I would love to at least clear one with a backstab, if I can. Trying to take out the groups, honestly, can be way more trouble than it's worth. So we'll deal with this one. Didn't quite kill him, though. That's alright. Kukri, finish. And I'm going to go after the archer now. Again, fishing for a backstab for those iframes. Don't let him frenzy. Knock down with the guard counter. And there we have it. What did he drop? Cuckoo Glintstone, very nice. So with these balloons, we're going to see a number of these out in the lake as well. Some of them will have puppets attached to them, others do not, but when you break them, you will get a golden rune. This time, a golden rune level 6. Okay, we got another group here. Once again, clearing out what I can. Okay, back up, because we got some frenzy going on. Okay, get the knockdown. Takes a little bit of damage, that's okay. Come on. You want to hit me? No? I was hoping that he would hit me so I could actually get the guard counter off of the arrow. But let's go ahead and heal up, just to be on the safe side. Very, very soon we will be getting a flask refill anyway. Alright, a couple more puppets up there, but let's circle around, because we do have some more doggos to deal with, as well as another one of these balloons. There we go. Golden Rune level 6. This right here is a dog. Good, and then we'll go back on top of the monument to take care of those other puppets. And that one just dropped down. I don't remember seeing that. I guess he was distracted. Down. Can I actually get the critical up here? I can. Got some arrows out of view. Very, very good. There's our flask refill. Not that it was even necessary because we do have a site of grace here. Right, there we go. Let's go have some fun. We have a small roving group of commoners here. I'm going to take care of the torch wielder first. Because, well, I don't like getting poked with fire. Go. And there you go. You can see that the lake-facing Site of Grace is just up there. We can't actually see the Site of Grace, but that's where we could have hopped down. There is going to be a small camp of soldiers. Just beyond these rocks right here. Let's see, who do we want to get the backstab on? Obviously start with the bigger soldiers first. There we go. Oh, didn't actually get the guard counter. There we go. Take care of you. Yep, go ahead and summon everyone you can. You almost feel bad killing him at this point. Okay, another Cuckoo Glintstone, very nice. The Cuckoo Glintstone, by the way, we haven't actually talked about that. Let's grab all these tarnished golden sunflowers. It costs some FP, and it throws a magical projectile at an enemy, but the projectile doesn't do much damage. But, as you can saw with the one that was thrown at me, it also fires 3 homing magic darts at the enemy, which can be really nice and catch enemies and invaders off guard. Right, so here we have a troll. We've dealt with them in the past. I'm going to switch over to my axe here. Get some kukris going. Now what I like to do is just focus on the ankles. Watch the swipe. Okay. This can be really good because we can also hit them right in the, well, normally you can hit them in the head. The stomps. Okay, hand swipe. There we go, there's the knockdown. Run around to his head for the glowing spot. Okay, not quite dead. Now he does not have a sword to pull out. Okay, watch the jump. Jump over the shockwave. Ah, missed the headshot again. Boy, missing all the headshots. Okay, there's the knockdown. There's the finish. We fought them before. Nice manageable fight. But more importantly, we are now on the other side of that broken bridge, and clearly this caravan was heading to Stormvale Castle to hopefully rearm some of their soldiers. And inside the chest, we get the tree spear. I am not a big spear fan, but I do love this weapon. Split damage between physical and holy. You can see that it has descaling in strength, dex, and faith. It does require 15 strength in order to one hand, only 10 if you want a two hand, 22 dexterity, and 18 faith. Wielded by knights employed as palace guards in the royal capital of Lane Dell. Now it can't be infused, you can't change the Ash 4, but it does come with Sacred Order, which is a skill we found previously, but now we have it built in to one of our weapons. Very, very nice. And just because it's here, run around and get yourself Silver Firefly. So just to show you where we've been so far, we're not quite done yet. We started at the lake facing cliffs. We went northwest up to the Sorcerer Ruins, and then east over to the Purified Ruins, and then the Liurnia Highway north. And we've activated the Liurnia Highway south side of Grace, and now we're going to loop back around, finish the ruins, and end up in the cave. And now that I think about it, there's actually no reason whatsoever for me not to just teleport. There we go. So let's go deal with the Purifier Ruins now. Being wary of any dogs that might still be lingering about. And dealing with this camp, especially because we don't want them throwing the cuckoo glintstones at us. Let's switch back over to the rapier. Circle back around. Okay, let's put some distance. Repeating thrust. Ah, there's the glintstone. Oh, look at that homing, my gosh. Oh, didn't mean to heal. I actually meant to use a kukri, but oh well. There we go. That was very messy for a small group like that. Wow, smithing stone 1, 3, and some bolts. That's a lot from one enemy. There's our refill. Another, hey, smithing stone level 2. Very nice. So you can farm here. You get 1, 2, and 3. I believe that 3 is very uncommon. Okay, golden rune level 1. Couple levels to this ruin right here. But let's go ahead and get some backstabs when we can. Or counter with the riposte. Okay, another soldier over there who hasn't even started paying attention, but we do have a doggo. And not paying attention. All right, so let's grab 4 cuckoo glintstones here. Hey, got another brass shield. Oh, we got the cuckoo surcoat and another smithing stone level 3. I love the cuckoo surcoat, by the way. I'll be showing that off here in a second. So the cuckoo surcoat, I just think it's a really, really nice looking set. So worn by the Raya Lucaria Academy soldiers, it depicts twin cuckoos peering into a flourishing mass of glintstone. To a glintstone sorcerer, the body is a transient thing. The cuckoo alone knows its insignificance, yet watches over it all the same. There we have it. Now, I mentioned that all ruins have a basement, and this one is hidden right here with these breakable planks, and I should be putting on my lantern. Over here we get our next Shabriri grape, and just in case I forgot to show this off before, a yellowing, oozing eyeball of the infirm. The surface is shriveled and the inside is squishy, not unlike a large, overly ripe grape. So very clearly this is just an eyeball, but compare that also with the yellow ember that we fought in the Weeping Peninsula. This is taken from the eye socket of a corpse, a sign that the deceased suffered from the flame of frenzy. The grape has ripened and burst. So this is what is inside those Shabriri grapes, all related to the flame of frenzy. And here we get the 2 Fingers heirloom. This is a talisman that's going to increase our faith by 5. Fingers cannot speak, yet these were eloquent. Persistently did they wriggle, spelling out mysteries in the air. Thus did we gain the words of our faith. So a really nice talisman, just in case you are trying to use certain incantations or wield certain weapons, and you don't quite meet the requirements. Now just over here, you drop down and get yourselves a golden rune level 3. And let's talk to this ghost, and that's going to wrap it up for the ruins here. Come out, one and all, from the darkness underground, and let us offer unto the maiden our eyes. Speaking of maiden,
Hello? Is someone there? Would you donate any Shabriri grapes in your possession to me? I'm on a pilgrimage in search of the distant light, and when I eat one of those grapes, I can feel the light in the back of my eyes. You're not like the others who give me grapes, are you? They rest their trembling hands upon me. Howling wordlessly, they gently stroke my eyes. Their frail fingers, emaciated. Yet still, they give me the grapes. But you seem somehow firmer. You are most kind indeed. May the blessing of the fingers be upon you.
and that is it for now. We'll see Hyetta at a later time, and we will also run into her pretty soon here again in Liurnia. Might take a couple of episodes. But in order for it to be of any use, we will need another Shabriri grape in our possession. So what I'm doing now is I'm just riding on the outskirts of the lake. Oh, a little more tarnished golden sunflowers. You know I love my holy pots. There are more death birds and worse, deathright birds for us to deal with. But in the corner of this waterway is where the cave is. But first I'm going to loop around. You do have a spirit spring here, just in case you wanted to loop back up to the top. But I'm going to go just to the back here. There's going to be some man beasts, aka the giant bats, to deal with, and there's a single arteria leaf that I want to collect. And just in case some of these take flight when I don't want them to, I'm going to get ejection ready. But if they don't take flight, even better. And if you want to come this way... Wow, a single kukri? I'll be honest, I did not realize that would work. I guess we got the bonus damage for it being a sneak attack. Well, that worked better than ever. And is this the arteria leaf? No, that looks like rawa fruit. All right, hold on. It is here. It's in my notes. I just have to find it. And again, the color red, not my best friend. Oh, goodness. There it is. Okay, so it does stand out once I eventually see it. So that's it for the outside. The only thing we have left is the cave itself. In this cave, there's some really cool loot in it. There's not a lot of really great loot in it. And there's a lot of enemies that I'm going to tell you are not worth your time. Enemies we have fought before, mind you. So welcome to Stillwater Cave. Stillwater Cave is poison central at this stage of the game, which is why we want to be crafting some neutralizing boluses. I have 7. I can make another one, which I'm going to, and I'm also going to get them on my hotbar. The nice thing is the Blessed Dew Talisman, if and when we do get poisoned, will help to stave off some of it. But there's an enemy, actually the boss at the end of this cave, that can cause Scarlet Rot, which is a much more potent form of poison. And it could stack with normal poison and drain our health very, very quickly. That's where our Flask of Wonders Physic can work wonders, because we don't have any way of curing the Scarlet Rot. So we're going to play this one slowly, and we're going to play this one carefully. Activate the summoning pool. Make sure you clear it off of your screen. Grab this Golden Rune level 3. So here we have some Servants of Rot. That mushroom-looking guy with the staff just ahead. We also have all these Miranda Blooms and Miranda Sprouts. Those are the enemies I'm going to tell you are just simply not worth your time, if I'm being completely honest. But here we have some Crystal Cave Moss. This is going to be used for preserving, clarifying, and rejuvenating boluses, which can cure Rot, Madness, and Death Blight, respectively. But we don't yet have the craft books in order to make those. Get a little bit more regular Cave Moss. And just around to the right, we're going to have one of the giant bats. Don't let him get the surprise on us. I was going to say, you can't see us just yet, but yes, you can, apparently. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wait till you start building that up, and... oh, hoping for backstab, which I did not get, and this is kind of a problem. Because now everything is aggroed to me. Now, what I want to do is I do want to kill this guy, which we can do just like so. This guy's actually joined me on this side of the cave, which is perfect. Oh, they both have now, though. All right, backstab. And let's get a guard counter. Go ahead and shove me. That's fine. So the problem with this cave is that there's just not a lot to get. There's not a lot of loot. So what I recommend is avoid going down below at all costs. There's one single shiny down there, and I'll show you how to get it. But first, we're going to take this little side cave. And as long as we play our cards right, this one is not too difficult to deal with. Oh, that's a budding cave moss, by the way. This is used for some perfumes later on, the uplifting blood boil and iron jar aromatics. Down here, we have some bats up in the ceiling, so let's deal with these with kukris. And I'm still not going to approach them. I'm just going to deal with them at range, because there's one of these much more dangerous ones. Remember the ones that was singing in the Weeping Peninsula? Oh, you're not falling. That's odd. Okay, now you fell. But there we have it. That's why I also have rejection, just in case. But he will always drop, upon his first kill, a Golden Rune level 6. Let's go ahead and grab this off the corpse. We get the Sage set. Ugh, a really, really cool magic-looking set. Not a lot of information, sadly, within the set itself. There are a couple of other NPCs who use this, but just not a lot of info on the set. But here we get 15 serpent arrows. This causes higher poison buildup than your standard poison or poison bone arrows. In fact, you get 78 buildup versus 60, which is really, really nice. And then we have a golden rune level 5. Very nice indeed. Now, this is where I want to show off the armor. I mentioned that I brought some spares. Poison buildup is based entirely on your immunity. So if I go over to the explanation, go down to immunity, the higher your immunity, the longer your poison gauge is. So if you can stack immunity, then it takes longer for you to get poisoned. Right now I'm at 192. It just so happened that I brought, based on what I currently have, the best immunity boosting armor that I have, which unfortunately does involve the incantation scarab, the chain draped tabard, the bandit manchettes, and the foot soldier greaves. Now I want you to compare the length of the poison gauge when I hop in here. Okay, I'm gonna let it fill completely. Okay, so that is with the best poison gear that we have currently. Now let me switch to what we have as the least. Now technically if I just remove all the armor, it's the least, but I want to show you, even still wearing armor, how much of a difference it can make. So we have the iron helmet, the marionette soldier armor, exile gauntlets, and the Caden trousers. And just look at the size difference of the poison meter. We're talking about a difference of a few seconds in between getting poisoned. Pretty drastic. So just in case you are concerned about poison, stacking that immunity can make all the difference in the world. But now I'm going to put on everything that I had before. I guess I had the exile gauntlets on. That looks about right. No, I think I had the Caden trousers, right? Yes, okay, there we go. But I just wanted to show that off. It's a neat little party trick, if you will. So heading back topside, again, I am not going to clear this entire cave. Just remember, Miranda blooms and sprouts are highly susceptible to fire, meaning if you set them on fire, they are actually going to be temporarily stunned. I do want to deal with all those servants of rot, however, so I'm going to get out my flame sling and just do a full charge. And there is another one. There we go. Let's see if I can thread that needle. I can indeed. Perfect. Okay, so now that those are dealt with, I feel a little bit safer dropping down to get that one item. But first, let's head around this cave here. Got another servant of rot there, which we actually could just deal with kukris. There's no reason not to. That one I'm not as concerned with. Actually, I should be. You know what? Because there are some bats coming up. I brought them. Might as well use them. So let's get rejection ready just in case. And... okay. Knock one down. Knock two down. And let's see if I can use rejection just to show you how fun it can be. It's more fun when they actually get hit, though. Oh, that's... well, it's still a fun spell. But, alright, there's 5 glowstone. Get some more budding moss. Okay, and we're nearly at the end of the cave already. Guy is going to be a bit problematic if I don't deal with him, though. Come on. It's funny. Despite them being bats, they have a hard time flying up. Once I deal with him, I'm going to go grab that one. There we go. I'm going to go grab that one item. Hopefully not get poisoned in the process. I mean, we will get poisoned a little bit, and that's okay. But I want to show you that if you go all the way back to the beginning of the cave, there's just no items down here. There's no illusory walls. There's no loot. The only bit of loot is that one right there. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to drop down, grab it, and then hightail it out of there. So wait for this poison hopefully to dissipate a little bit. Worst case scenario, we have 6 more boluses. All right, let's drop. There are some poison blooms if you want them. But let's get a golden rune 4. We're running. We're running. Obviously not going to heal poison until I am out of it. There we go. And we proceed. We're almost at the boss. There's the Stake of America. Okay, I'm going to rush over to the Servant of Rot in the back. Get a backstab. Oh, wow. That hit me. All right, that's fine. Let's go ahead and keep moving. We'll deal with some Servants of Rot and get backstabs on almost all of them. And we'll go in for the boss fight here without any poison applied. Okay, now rush this last one because he's actually looking at us. Okay. Backstab here. You can see that because of the Blessed Dew Talisman, the buildup is really not that dangerous. Or not the buildup, but the actual poison itself does not deal that much damage. Okay. Drop down, grab 2 poison grease, applying poison to our weapon for 60 seconds. And we are ready to fight the boss. Now, this boss, I've already alluded to much earlier in this episode. This is going to be a clean rot night. Honestly, not a very difficult fight if you have a good shield, if you fish for backstabs and guard counters, and if you have healing over time. That way you don't even have to worry about the poison pool that you're going to be fighting in. What you do need to worry about is anytime he charges his weapon up, I can never remember if the clean rot knights are male or female or a mixture of both, but regardless, when their weapon is charged up, if they actually get you with the stab attack, you'll be inflicted with Scarlet Rot, so you want to be careful of that, which is why I'm going to hang on to my Crimson Tears as a last resort. I am, however, going to top off my Cerulean Tears. I'm going to use our Flask of Wonders Physic, and I will definitely be using Flame Sling. Okay, War Cry. Charge up. Nice fire attack. Okay, that was the move you don't want to get hit by. Okay, let's get the shield out. Okay, we got poison, but that's okay. Notice that we're not even taking any considerable damage. In fact, our HP regeneration is outpacing it. Okay, guard counter. Jump attack. That's the move you don't want to get stabbed by, so either roll through it or away from it. Watch it. Jump. Back up. In fact, if you want, just a nice flame sling. Back to shields. We also do have fire pots, which work pretty well. Actually, really well. My goodness gracious. That was easy mode. But there we have it. Clean Rot Knight defeated, and we get a Winged Sword Insignia, new talisman. And by the way, I'm not worried about my health because of the Flask of Wonders Physic and the Blessed Dew Talisman. But the Winged Sword Insignia, a raised prosthetic blade, an honor bestowed upon the knights who fought alongside Melania the Severed. The wings symbolize Melania and her undefeated prowess. Though she never knew relief from the accursed rot she was born into, her blade was forever beautiful and relentless. Raises attack power with successive attacks. Now, there is a direct upgrade to this later on, but the way that this talisman works is it will increase your damage on consecutive hits. There is a hidden kind of timer in between the hits, so you do have to attack fairly quickly, but you can get between 3 and 10%. I believe it's 3, 5, and 10% damage increases depending on how quickly you are attacking. Very, very cool. There's a couple of weapons and spells that this pairs very, very nicely with, and we'll try to show that off. But at the end of this cave, that is in fact going to do it for this episode of Everything Possible in Elden Ring, and I hope you learned something. If you did, leave me a comment below and let me know what you learned, and if I missed something, or if you have a better strategy for the Clean Rot Night, let me know so we can all keep learning. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.